Okay, today we are playing a game on Junkertown. We are playing Mercy the entire way through, and there is no SR for today's game because it was a placement game, which as long-time viewers will know, it means it is a fantastic opportunity for me to say I don't care about the current team composition, and therefore have to do less video editing at the end of it all. I'm a lazy asshole, is the moral of the story. So let's start the game. So we've got to attack Junkertown first. We've elected to not go with Bastion Strat, which is a bold and innovative play, honestly, on Junkertown. We do have a Hanzo, though, of course. We don't have a Zenyatta on our team because the other healer is Baguette. So that's a little bit scary for the purposes of if they have Graviton. So, currently we're doing a lot of healing people who are at full HP, which is not the most productive use of company resources. It is difficult to carry as a support in general, particularly Mercy, who has the least overall agency in the game, over the game rather. And it's mostly about being efficient with your resources, because if you're healing somebody who's at full HP, that's the same as you just having no tether turned on at all. So try to avoid healing people who are at full health. It was a very risky maneuver to go for rezzing the Hanzo, and I wouldn't recommend it just because Widowmaker was the one that killed him. And she's probably thinking to herself, or she should be thinking to herself, they've got a Mercy. Mercy's gonna wanna res that guy. Definitely don't do that. We thought better of it when we actually got there. Definitely don't do that one. But the Widowmaker should have been thinking, Mercy's going to want to res that person, so I should just sort of camp that soul right now to try and shoot her. Now, she didn't kill us, so it all worked out in the end, but she did try. So we've managed to capture the first checkpoint, which is honestly probably like 50% of the work on Junkertown. The street can be kind of annoying sometimes. It's like the worst street to try and push through. But then, I mean, when you're comparing it to street phases, we got, like, Numbani, right? So, yeah, I guess it would be a lot easier to defend compared to that. So, Gango is using Dragon Blade. I wouldn't bother using Valkyrie in this situation, because I look at this, and I think to myself, one of our team is dead. Two of our teammates are very low health. Genji's using Dragon Blade. Everybody's going to die here right now. So I wouldn't even bother using the Valkyrie because Genji's just going to kill everybody else around us. Yeah, we won't die, but everybody else is going to die, which means Valkyrie will get wasted regardless, so should have just held the ult. Fair enough to want to use it to get away from the Genji, who's using Dragon Blade, but like, he's just going to kill everybody else. Now, if the other healer was Zenyatta, and he had Transcendence, then it would be more justified, but no, he's just going to kill everybody else around us instead. I guess if McCree was a god and flashbanged him and killed him, that would also work. But I wouldn't go around basing your decisions around a random asshole being a god at that moment when we really need him to be so. Now, Baguette has used Rally. Our team's sort of starting to push forward, so it's probably safe to go for the res, but I mean, it was again Widowmaker that killed him, so there is the fear that she's just gonna camp the soul. It ended up not mattering. Widowmaker is still alive, but she is the only one still alive, so even if she shoots us right now, we won't be too upset because we just had armor on from Baguette right there. She's still coming, she's still trying, or she's panicking at this point. Like, she is too afraid of getting killed by Mercy. She doesn't want that. She doesn't want that hanging on her head. Both their tanks are now dead, thanks to Dragon Strike, so we're going to capture this checkpoint now. Moira is going to stagger herself, which is very convenient for us, again. Again, don't heal people at full health, just be damage boosting somebody instead. Even if that doesn't look like they're going to be achieving something, sometimes they do. Just damage boost somebody, rather than just healing beam on somebody full health, same as having no beam turned on at all. And like, okay, so like, if it's like in this position where you're like, I can only really tether to people who aren't going to be very productive to damage boost right now, because it's Reinhardt and Baguette. Just pull out your pistol and fire at them, because at least you'll be generating ult charge while you're filling space, basically. Again, it's hard to carry as a support, especially Mercy, so we've got to try and be as efficient as possible. So we want to always be damage boosting people if we can, and if there's nobody around to help that with damage boosting is actually going to achieve anything, just pull out your pistol and shoot them. You'll at least generate some ult charge. And Valkyrie's a pretty good ultimate, so generating some extra charge is good. But, like, all this sitting around healing people at full health is very bad. And I'm going to not continuously go on about that till the end of time, because I think I've probably gotten the point across by now that we don't want to do that. So it was a scary time to use Valkyrie, honestly, because there was a great risk of them just dying in the Graviton, which Valkyrie can't help with, really. But they didn't actually have any big wombo combo to use with the Graviton, so it ended up not actually mattering. And we're just going to keep on pushing through. Now they've got to rush out to try and contest the point. Genji's using Dragon Blade. He didn't do it properly. No, he did not. He fucked that one up. Didn't actually kill us with it. We just dashed right past him. He didn't kill us. And, yeah, we did it. We did it. Hooray, hooray. Look at that. Nano Blade happened and we actually survived as Mercy. Isn't that incredible? That basically only happens if the Genji is bad or some extremely bad circumstances are happening around him. Which happens there was a combination of those two things, really. So now we gotta defend Junkertown. So, of course, we wait with bated breath to see if a Bastion is going to come around the corner. And I don't remember if one does, actually. Does a Bastion come around the corner? We don't know. We're kind of hiding out of the way. Yes, a Bastion has come around the corner. We can res Reinhardt, no problem. Hopefully Reinhardt doesn't decide to kill himself. Yep, there we go. There we go. So if you're playing Reinhardt, there's not much we can do about that one. So if you're playing Reinhardt, and there's a pirate ship coming towards you on any map, though I will remind everyone that it's only called the pirate ship if it's on Junkertown, because that's the payload that's got fucking gold and treasure on it. Okay? On any other map, it's just good old wholesome cheese, okay? Junkertown is the pirate ship, though. Now, if they're coming at you and you're playing Reinhardt, here's what you do. You wait for the pirate ship to get close, to get to a convenient location where you can get up to it with a... Just sit out of the way, wait for it to get to a position where you can push up onto the payload from out of cover, with just like walk up onto it with your 2000 health shield. And then try and pin Bastion. Because if you pin the Bastion, he's dead. So for example, if we're on Junkertown, we can just wait till he gets like right to the corner, hide out in like the room with the large health kit, and then when he's coming to the corner, come around the corner full shield, push right up, pin him off of it. Now, if the enemy team responds appropriately, they won't just let you do that. But honestly, most people are bitches, right? I can't, like, people in fucking Diamond haven't figured out that the other, on Reinhardt, needs to countercharge the other Reinhardt, right? You'll get away with it more often than you think you will. Or if you're on, like, Route 66, you can just sit behind the sign on the gas station, and then when it's getting right underneath you, you can just hop off, pin him right there and then. And, like, honestly, it works probably, like, 7 out of 10 times. It's the sort of thing that's, like, if their tank is paying attention at all, they won't, you won't get away with it. But honestly, people just let you do it. They just let you pin the Bastion off of the payload. Because what happens always, like, this is how the fucking pirate ship wins, right? Is enemy team, they see Bastion there, and then they're immediately just tunnel on the Bastion, like, I gotta get the Bastion, I gotta get the Bastion. So they start just fucking jumping around in front of the payload, like, I'm gonna get this Bastion. The Reinhardt just fucking running at the fucking payload, like, I'm gonna get the Bastion, when his shield's already broken, but he's like, I gotta get the Bastion right fucking now. Gotta stop this snowball right now. And then they just sort of jump around in front of Bastion and run at him single file and get killed. That's not how it works. You've got to wait for the pirate ship to get to a convenient location and then dogpile on the Bastion when he gets there. That's what you're supposed to do, anyway. But as with any time like, this kind of strat is happening, it requires an element of teamwork, at least, to deal with it, because they're using teamwork, those cheating fucking scumbags, and the only way to really beat teamwork is with teamwork, because one person versus, like, 3 or 4 people working together is not gonna work, usually. So you always need, like, an element of teamwork, at least. But that's the theory, anyway. This is a very common thing. I see people just fucking jumping around in front of the payload with the Bastion on, and then they get mowed down, and like, what did you fucking expect to happen, you fucking dumbass? Have some common sense. Bastion does a lot of damage. If you're jumping around in front of him, he's gonna kill you. Stay out of the way until he's close enough you can just jump on him. But, you know, whatever. Anyway. So we have we've gained a few more Bastion counters in the interim period. We've gained Winston, who is countered by Bastion, so don't do that. And as you can see, that kind of what happened right there was both of our tanks just jumped on Bastion. One of them was Winston, so that didn't work. And then D.Va went at him with presumably not much defense matrix left, seeing as a fight just happened, and defense matrix takes or she just got into a fight anyway, and defense matrix takes some time to recharge, so they both just kind of got mowed down. You'll notice I'm not really talking about what we're doing, and that's because basically right now we are entirely beholden to what our team does as Mercy. There's nothing you as Mercy can do to stop the pirate ship coming towards you, except, like, trying to organize your team to the best of your ability. But as we know, with the Overwatch community, that's a real hit-or-miss affair right there. So we did, like, go way too far up right there. We're just trying to support the D.Va, I know, but, like, they're gonna get back a lot faster than we are, than our team is, so we just, like, dash forward into their regrouping team and end up getting killed because all we've got is a D.Va there to protect us. And D.Va's not exactly a great bodyguard. But, like, there's not a lot you can do as Mercy. All you can really do is try and coordinate your team. Mercy herself has, like, nothing that she can do individually to try and stop the pirate ship coming. Anna has about the most agency over it as far as all of the supports go, because Anna can throw the bio grenade in there, and if that hits the Bastion, he's a lot easier to kill. She can trank the Bastion, at which point he's a lot easier to kill, and everybody can just try and jump on him. But even that, you'll notice that both of those elements, Anna doesn't kill the Bastion herself, so, like, you still do need your team to do stuff, but Anna can at least set something up. None of the other supports really can versus a pirate ship. You just kind of have to hope your team gets it together. Tanks are kind of the same way. I would say Reinhardt has the best individual chance of stopping Bastion. Maybe Roadhog, but that's really dependent on being able to get a hook past the barriers. So Reinhardt, you can just jump out when the dude's right next to you and try and pin him. And then if you pin him, he's dead. He's not actually dead, he'll live with 5 hit points if he was full health, but he's basically dead. Especially since, like, well, if they got, like, a baguette, it's going to be really hard, but people tend to go, like, Mercy, Zenyatta, with a Bastion comp. So we should not have gone up there. That's a real dangerous place to go up to. And we almost died, but we did manage to slink away from it. Well, I was really surprised we survived this one when I was watching it earlier. I was like, God damn. I swore that was going to fly past the corner, but it didn't. Our D.Va, meanwhile, got 4 kills with her self-destruct. Hooray. So now their momentum has been thoroughly stopped, which is the important thing with the Bastion comp, is if you stop it once, it's very hard for them to get it moving again at that point. The whole point of the comp is basically just to win the first fight and then carry the momentum through for the rest of the checkpoint. And now they don't even have Bastion anymore. This is also, like, the worst place to lose momentum on Junkertown, because at this point you only have the options of the fuckholes to try and go through, right? And, like, the bottom right one is awful, so you really only have left and top right to try and go through. Neither of which are great. If the door closes on you right here, it's really terrible. It's very similar to how Eichenwald was. Remember how Eichenwald, the gate used to not stay open? So the only way you had to get into the third checkpoint was through the 2 fuckholes on the sides, which very, very often got you killed. But then they changed it so the door stayed open, and it got a lot easier to capture that checkpoint. First checkpoint's still a fucking nightmare, though, so, you know. I actually think at this point, Eichenwald is probably one of the best balanced maps, actually. After they changed the third checkpoint, and they made the first checkpoint a little bit easier to attack by putting the other doorway in, I actually think Eichenwald has probably ended up being one of the better balanced maps in the game. By the way, Horizon's actually still trash. Remember how I said it might be a better map? The first checkpoint's a lot better. I'll give you that one. The first checkpoint's a lot better. Because you can actually use the high ground now as the defending team. You can hang out on like the high ground above the objective, and then when they start pushing in under you, you just jump backwards back onto the point because the wall's gone now. So it's the first checkpoint's a lot better. A lot easier to defend, which it was quite difficult to defend if the attacking team knew even passingly what they were doing. So that's better. Second checkpoint's still terrible, though. So, you know, it's a 2CP map, you know. It's got that disadvantage of being a 2CP map, so it is inherently going to be terrible. But, yeah, it's better, but it is still terrible. I think I would rather play on it than Hanamura at this point, though. Like, out of the 2CP maps, it might be one of the best balanced. I still think Volskaya is the best balanced 2CP map out of them all. Horizon at this point I think is pretty close. I'd rather play on that than Hanamura, honestly, because I think Hanamura's trash. Like, let's be honest. Hanamura is fucking awful. I hate that map so much. So I went back here, by the way, and then got massively sidetracked. But the reason I went back right there was because we didn't need to use this Valkyrie. And it ends up not really accomplishing anything. Because it doesn't keep us safe, the team doesn't really benefit from the AoE effect in any significant way, so it just ended up doing basically nothing. Because that's the thing with all support ultimates, is that Mercy's has a self-preservation element to it, which is important. But all support ultimates are basically this way, where you want as many of your teammates to benefit from it as possible. So if you end up using Valkyrie and you can only really use it on like 1 or 2 people the entire time, you didn't really get like huge value out of it, really. Whereas if we had Valkyrie for like that situation, it would have been a lot better, because that team fight could have gone either way, and we would have probably ended up surviving if we had Valkyrie to get us through that part right there at the end. Or earlier on, we would have probably never even been in that situation if we still had Valkyrie, so. The exception to this support ultimate thing is Zenyatta, because Zenyatta's ultimate is largely about countering other people's ultimates. So that rule of thumb doesn't really apply to Zenyatta so much, because his ult functions differently to the other support ultimates. But all support ultimates are basically that way. You want as many of your team to benefit from it as possible. Even Orisa also. Orisa has a support ultimate. I know she's a tank. She's got a support ultimate. We should not have used that GA right there. Like, that basically ended up getting us killed. Probably would have died regardless because of, like, just the architecture of the map based on... Because Soldier's using TAC Visor right now, like, right as we do this. We didn't need to use that GA right there. We could tether to Genji perfectly fine and heal him without GAing to him. And then that GA played a large part in us getting killed. We might have still died regardless, but the GA certainly didn't help matters at all, did it? So... There's a habit of Mercy players to just kind of GA to people without really thinking too deeply about it, and then that's the kind of thing that can really easily end up getting you killed. So if you can tether to somebody without GAing to them, that's better to do, usually. Like, if you're GAing away from danger, fair enough, but if you're GAing forward to tether to somebody, you want to make really sure you're not going to end up getting killed because you GA'd forward to tether to that boy. Bearing in mind, self-preservation is extremely important for all supports. Because if you die, the rest of your team is also sentenced to death, so we really want to minimize risk to ourselves as much as possible. So, you might have guessed from the timeline of the video and the way this fight's going, but we are indeed going to win this game. So, hooray. Feels good, man. Good old Mercy video. The video's 16 minutes long, and I see we're currently trending at about 20 minutes long on this video. Hooray! And most of that's because of the, most of the going over there is because of that huge tangent about fucking Horizon right in there. I love my tangents. Concise and salient points I'm not interested on. I'm just here to waffle about whatever I want to talk about, basically. With the, giving the illusion of, actually helping people. It's just because I like hearing the sound of my own voice. It's quite surprising that the self-destruct didn't actually get play of the game, because I would have thought self-destruct ended up getting, like, basically 100 on all 4 of them, but, you know, whatever, I guess, Genji. So, the thing that stood out the most in this game was definitely, like, healing people when they're at full health, which is, you know, we've beaten that horse enough times. It's already dead. We'll leave that one, we'll let it have some dignity. Don't do that, is the gist of it. And I guess Valkyrie we didn't use super well. We ended up wasting a couple of them. And Valkyrie is it's a pretty strong ultimate. Basically just because it's like, I can't die for this period of time as long as I don't go way up into the sky and get killed by Deadeye or something like that. Remember, if you're playing Mercy and they've got a soldier or a McCree on the other team and you're using Valkyrie, just assume they have Tac Visor or Deadeye, and position accordingly. Because typically you want to be as high in the sky as possible, because that means you're harder to hit. Most people just straight up can't hit you. But if they've got Deadeye or Tac Visor and you're like 50,000 feet in the air, you're going to die before you can get back to cover. So position accordingly. But we ended up wasting Valkyrie a couple of times in this game. So that's like the other thing. But the big thing was like healing people at full health. Don't do that. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. And I hope you found the video helpful.